Alright, and this is going to be germination video A to Z, rock and roll. Hey, this is Ericthemasterblaster back with you. Glad to be back with you. I wanted to recap some of the videos that I've made before. You got to remember Ericthemasterblaster started off quite a few years ago, and I wanted to share information which I've told everybody for years and years. We're going to medical marijuana and medical properties of marijuana. So we need to share information. Remember, prohibition is almost over. Now, before you take in this information, remember, if you do not have this paperwork or this card, and you're not in a legal state, store this information until you're allowed to medically help yourself. Now, what we're going to go over is germination. This is going to be 3 segments. We're going to go from germination to how to go into soil, to rock wool for hydro, how everything ends up, and how to process. So now look, I want to explain that there are 3 different types of seeds. There are autoflowers. I use Crop King seeds simply because I know they make a medical product. You have autoflowers, you have feminized, and you have, sorry, not a pretty package, you have regular seeds. Now this means that you have a regular, normal cannabis plant that is normally grown outside and can get very large, but it takes a very long cycle. Then you have feminized plants. Now see, these are guaranteed to be females. Now with your regulars, you're going to get male and females, and you have to be able to determine sex, and we'll go into that later. But the nice thing with feminized is that you already know they're females. But, and we'll go into later, there's different light cycles between feminized and auto. Auto can go to a higher light cycle. We'll talk about that later. Today we're talking about germination, okay? And I want to go over the basic steps that Crop Kings use and that I have learned to use. So now let's pretend that we're starting a germination, okay? Now, if these were Crop King seeds, and these are just some stuff I have left over, sanitation, sanitation, sanitation. Whenever you are touching your seeds, whenever you are handling anything during your grow, even touching your plants, I go into my grow room in the buff. I do not want any kind of contamination in there. I take a shower before I go in. I wear gloves. Remember, you're making a medical product. Okay, so let's pretend we're doing autoflowers just for fun. And let's say we've taken these are Revolver by Crop Kings. These actually aren't, but we're pretending they are. Now, say we're doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 seeds. Now, what we've done is we've taken spring water, not tap water. You want to use bottled water at a temperate temperature. You want to put it in a glass, and you want to drop your seeds in there. And what you want to do is put them in a drawer, such as this, and you want to leave them for 18 hours, okay? So now, let's pretend we've taken this glass out after 18 hours. Now you have a plate with paper towels. Now let me demonstrate there are correct and incorrect paper towels. I learned this the hard way. Master Blaster didn't become Master Blaster without making many mistakes. These are cloth. They do not perforate air. Usually, and you do not want ink on your paper towels, but you'll see these are lighter and they have holes and they allow air to go through. So, you have your paper towel out. Now what I do, because I don't like to touch the seeds after they've been sitting in there, is I just gently pour them out because I got a paper towel. It's going to soak up the water. And then I'm going to lightly come in, I'll show you, tap them back just into a place where they're good and they're sitting in water. Then you're going to take some more paper towels, same size, you're going to lay over top. Now, I like to fold my edges on the plate, because you notice I have a curved plate. Now, it doesn't matter if you do this, but this is what the Master Blaster has learned. You notice I have extra cloth up here, which means if we were doing this with spring water, once I pour my water in and everything's soaked, now there's excess water in there. What I then do is take and just drain the excess water off. I set an alarm on my phone for every 5 hours, and that's a little overkill. And you want a spritz bottle, or you can just take water and pour it back off again. Once you have your seeds on the plate and they're soaked, you want to go into a drawer, room temperature, preferably 73 degrees. You're going to leave them in there. Every 5 to 6 hours, you're going to check, and you're going to make sure that the top of that paper towel is damp and wet. Now, you don't want to drown your seeds. Don't soak them like I showed you. Drain off the excess water every time. Remember, tender, loving care. The more tender, loving care you give into your plants, the better medical property you're going to get out of them. Okay, so 3 days later, I don't even check the paper towels. I just make sure they're damp for 3 days. Some people go to 4. What you're going to end up with, let me move all this out of the way, is this. When we peel back, now you're going to start to see tap roots. Oh, isn't that beautiful? Now look, it's obviously Crop Kings, because we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of 6, and this one is tapping right now. So they brag 80%. I usually get 100% off of Crop King seeds. Now, I want to point out, you'll notice, normally you don't want to touch these things this much. See how this taproot has embedded itself in the paper towel? I gently want to pull that back so that I can get that taproot out, because you will see it is very long. It comes down here. Now, I've actually, the Master Blaster's made a mistake and let a couple of them go too long. Now, this is basic germination. These are the beginning steps. If you do not do the beginning steps, you're not going to end up with a medical property. And I promise you, using Crop King seeds, and to make the kind of products that Leaves of Relief, my company, does, which we'll go into later, you have to have a medical product. You have to have something to start with. And if you do not follow these steps that I've just shown you, you will not get the success that I do. Now, we're going to stop this, and we're going to go into another segment, and we're going to show you how to go into soil, and we're going to show you how to go into rock wool. There's a reason for those, soil versus hydroponics. And that's where the Master Blaster starts having fun. So, that is germination, basic, A to Z. If you will follow these steps, I guarantee you will have success in creating the medical products. So Eric the Master Blaster is out.